Okay, we have looked at relationships God's way. We've looked at Scripture to see how God feels about relationships. We've looked at His guidelines that He's given us through Scripture, and they're really very straightforward. They're not hard to understand. It's just a matter of us applying them. So this is part one of the conclusion, and we just want to kind of list everything in a common sense, simple format. We're going to break it all apart and look at it from a therapeutic standpoint and just simply say, these are the kind of people we need to stay away from if we want to have a happy, healthy life, and it does affect our health. And if we want to have a successful, joyful life, these are the kind of people we need to associate with. So we're going to hone in on the past few videos, the dreamer and schemer idea. Do the people that we hang out with, our friendships and relationships, do they allow us to dream and become a success, help us along the way of success, or are they scheming, trying to find ways to undermine us for whatever reason, whether it be jealousy, selfishness, some type of revenge, whatever it is, they're trying to undermine us. Now, this is not going to sound very professional, very theological, very philosophical, but I'm just going to word it this way. There are some people who just absolutely are selfish, self-centered, sinful, egotistical jerks. They just are. They're just buttholes. You know, I hate using that word, but that's, you know, one of the best ways to describe them. It's better than some of the words I hear other people use. I know that's not very professional sounding, but you know, on the psychological side, people like that might be described as narcissists, having antisocial PD or irrational PD. They might be defined as bipolar, and they're being treated as such when that's not the problem. The problem is that they're simply selfish jerks, and we all know people like that. Now, before I go any further, let me say, if you are someone who is suffering from from a personality or behavioral disorder, that statement was not geared towards you. If you love someone or care for someone who suffers from one of these disorders, who really suffers from it, that statement was not directed towards you or them. However, every one of us have to be honest, and we know that a lot of these disorders are overdiagnosed. We just don't want to deal with holding people accountable and making them behave at a young age as they should, so they can go up and become healthy adults who give back to the community in constructive ways. So, you know, don't get mad at me. I want you to comment. If you disagree, comment. You know, I'd appreciate no nasty comments, but if you want to leave them, that's fine, because I firmly believe there are some people who are not suffering from these disorders. They use it as a crutch to keep acting like heathens and, you know, cruel human beings, and they're probably covering for some kind of insecurity within themselves, but I think we'll focus on that a little bit later. So here's I've kind of laid out some guidelines. Let me go back and say this too on the previous note. If you're someone who is really suffering from one of those disorders, you should be offended that people are claiming that, or doctors are diagnosing that when it's not the case, because that takes away from the quality of care that people who really are suffering could get. You know, when we just slap a label on something and throw out some medicine or give them a reason to excuse bad behavior, we're not helping them, and we're not helping the people who are actually suffering. So that's just my opinion. Okay. I know that when I was getting my master's in human services and marriage and family counseling, and then I got the master's in human services and criminal justice, and I was kind of focusing there on working with troubled youth. The majority of the research I did, I found that in most cases, people who were coming to counselors or therapists for help had issues because of past relationships. Now, there are times that it's something, a chemical imbalance or something else physical going on. But in most of the cases that I studied, it was because of a bad relationship, of what someone else had done. Years of abuse or years of being mistreated or just years of extremely poor influences. So that's why this is so important. So the first question we need to ask ourselves when going into a relationship, no matter the type of relationship, is, does this person help us achieve our dreams, or do they stifle and strangle the life and joy from you? And I have been around both types of people, and I can tell you it has a permanent effect. Well, it don't have to be permanent. It's permanent if we allow it to be, but it has a great effect on who we become and how we interact. So let's go back to the Bible. Damon's over here singing for us. He's serenading us. What are you singing, Damon? Okay, he's through singing now. That has interrupted most of the video. Anyway, look at Joseph in the Old Testament. Now, because of the way his father raised him, he was a little bratty. I honestly believe that's the only way he knew to be, because of the way his father showed partiality to him. But if you remember, God had given him a special ability, and that was to interpret dreams. And God also gave him dreams that would foretell the future. And he would tell them to his brothers and to his parents, and they would get angry with him. And his brothers were extremely jealous of the way that his father treated him and showed partiality. But even his father and mother called him out on, who do you think you are? Do you think that you'll someday lord over us? So there was a lot of jealousy there, and because of that jealousy, they set out to do him harm. And we know that they ripped the coat off his father had made him, tore it up, put it in animal blood, threw him in a pit. The brothers wanted to kill him, but I believe it was the oldest brother. I think Judah wanted to kill him. Reuben said, the oldest brother said, no, let's not. Caravan of Midianites came along. They sold him. The Midianites went and sold him into slavery. It was one hurdle after another. He succeeded often. God caused him to succeed in Egypt, but he was also constantly